up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Ask Exodus. I'm your guest host, Kragen. Let's get right into the questions. So, the first one comes from George Solano in Stamford, Connecticut. Did you get to pick any songs to add to the Exodus set list when playing live? And he's got a second part of the question, which is, are there any personal faves you'd like to play and haven't yet had the chance? So on, let's see, I guess it was one of the tours we did in Europe for Blood In, Blood Out. I picked the song Parasite from Pleasures of the Flesh. I've always loved that song. It's got a killer harmony section in the middle, and I really wanted to play it. So I basically learned the song and showed everybody else how to play it, because the guys hadn't played it for many years. So I learned all the guitar parts and just kind of worked on it with Lee, and it was killer to play that. As far as other songs to play that I didn't ever get to, that's a tough one. Maybe Verbal Razors or some of the other stuff from Cage in Hell, something like that from Fabulous Disaster. We pretty much played, I would say, everything except maybe No Love from Bonded. So yeah, I think that's what I would probably choose. So let's see. Second question, Marcus from Germany. What is your favorite Exodus song that you have never played live? That is basically what I just answered before, but I think I'll probably go with Cage in Hell. I think there's just something cool and unique about that. The sort of, southern bluesy intro stuff that's in there and throughout the song. It's really cool. It's a cool, killer song that definitely sort of defined that Fabulous Disaster album. There's a lot of diversity and different kinds of stuff on that record, and I think it's killer. Let's see, Jeff Rose from Cambridge, Ontario. What are your top 3 favorite Exodus albums, and what are your top 3 Exodus songs that I wish I wrote? Top 3 Exodus albums. I'm old school. I got into Exodus when I first heard Bonded by Blood, so I've got to include Bonded by Blood. I would say Fabulous Disaster, and I don't know, man, maybe Tempo of the Damned. It's tough. They're all good. Come on, guys. They're all killer. Top 3 Exodus songs I wish I wrote. Wow, that's another tough one. Maybe The Ballad of Leonard and Charles. I think that's an awesome song. Thank you, Lee. But if we go back old stuff, maybe Father Like Son. I love some of the early Exodus epics. And then, I don't know, we'll go crazy. Maybe Impact is Imminent, the title track. The riff in that, when I first heard it, my jaw dropped. I was like, what the hell? That's fucking killer. So there you go. Thank you, Jeff. Let's see. Jacob Williams, otherwise known as Dagobah System 1989 on YouTube. What's up, dude? What was your 2013 performance of Bonded by Blood with Exodus at Bloodstock? And was that your very first time playing live with the band? Let's see. So, that was a tour that we did where Exodus and Heathen toured together, and I had already done a tour in Europe with the guys for the Exhibit B album, or maybe it was on that tour. I think it was on that tour, the Exhibit B tour that I did with them. I think we met up. There were a couple of shows where Gary was playing with Slayer at the same festival. I think that's the one. I think it was Bloodstock. And basically, Gary played with the band that night, and I jumped up on stage and played the last 2 songs. I think that was not the first time that I played with the band. We did some tours. There was a tour called, what was it called? It was a thrash tour with Sepultura, Exodus, Destruction, and Heathen. And the name escapes me at the moment, but I'll probably think of it as soon as I turn this video off. On that tour, Lee was doing double duty. And so during the Exodus set, I jumped up on stage and took over for him and played Deranged on most nights on the tour. That was I think that was the first time that I got to play with the band. I think it was like 2012, if I'm remembering correctly. So there you go. And then Jacob's second question is, what amps do you usually play through when you're playing with Exodus? That has changed over the years. The most recent is we use Kemper's live, and we use a profile of the Tempo of the Damned tone, which is, I believe, is Gary's modified Marshall JCM 800. And that's what we usually use. In the past, we have used PV-XXX, Angle Savage 120 amps, and then they used, I think they used a Marshall on the new record too. Yeah, that's what we usually use. It's basically a profile of Gary's modified Marshall, that's the XL Crunch. All right, Jacob, thank you. Fabian, I don't know where you're from. Thank you for your question. It says here, I'm a thrash metal guitarist who's trying to get better at shredding and playing thrash solos. Any tips? And so let's see. Tips for thrash solos. There's kind of two ways I see solos. There are the solos that are kind of like a collection of licks, where guys play like a lick and then they repeat it 4 times, and then they play another lick and they repeat it. And then there are other solos where they kind of the solos are created to sort of work with the music that's underneath it a little bit more, and they become more sort of like part of the song. I think you should try maybe working on both. Find some players that you really like. Make a list of what you like about each one of their playing. So if somebody does really cool bends or vibrato, write down their name. If you like somebody that does like really fast like pentatonic licks, write them down. If you like somebody that does sweep picking really well, or some other technique, whatever it is, make a list of all the players, and then one at a time, find a lick that you really like from that player and learn it note for note. Not to copy it, but to learn what they're doing. And then once you've done that, make 3 variations of your own, and then you'll come up with your own licks based on some techniques that you've learned. And it's a really good way to sort of get started with playing solos. And then you take it, once you've done that, you'll start taking things to the next level and building solos that work well with the song. So I hope that helps, Fabian. And good luck. I can't wait to hear your shredding. All right, let's see. John, I don't know if it's Brown or Braun. It doesn't say where from. I just can't figure out how to get that surrounding, like feeling like you're there at a concert. I don't know if that's referring to when you're listening to music, or if you're looking for tone, for amp tone or something. I don't know. I mean, the best thing for me when I listen to music, I listen with headphones or earbuds, because then, especially earbuds that like block out sound from outside, because then you're just immersed in it. Close your eyes, listen to the music. For me, it's always like been a cool way to sort of escape and go to another place and get away from whatever's going on that's crazy in life or whatever. If you're talking about tone, John, how do you get that big fat sound like you're at a concert? You just gotta experiment. Find the right amp combination with guitar, pickups, I mean, everything leads into the sound. If you're looking for that big, fat, low-end tone, I mean, you just have to experiment with low end, because there's a sort of fine line where, like, the low end can be too bassy and just like kind of sound fuzzy or muddy, and you just have to find just the right amount. Just keep tweaking the tone. You know, maybe get a tube screamer or something similar, like a distortion pedal, and use it like a tube screamer. It basically, you use it so you're not adding distortion, you're just kind of pushing the sound out of the guitar hotter, and that's a good way to get that really crunchy kind of sound. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. I answered both ways, so I hope that helps. Let's see, David Nicholas from the UK. Out of the whole Exodus catalog, which album do you wish you could have recorded if the opportunity had presented itself? Wow, that's another tough one. I don't know. Bonded is such a classic, but I think I would probably say Fabulous Disaster. There's something about that record when I heard it that was just, it was like magical. I think it's the variety on it. There's so much cool stuff that's on there. Even the covers, you know, like Lowrider and the AC/DC cover. I mean, everything on that record is cool. So I think that would be it. If I was, you know, if there was one that I had to pick that I wish I had recorded, maybe I think that would be it. All right, Gary Pescara. I don't know where exactly, Gary, you're from, but I do know you from Facebook. So hello there. How are you? My question, let's see, my question was, what is the gear you were using in the early days, and do you still use some of that gear in the present day? So the gear that I had in the early days, I had a Marshall JCM 800, and I had no effects or anything in the very early days of playing. And I didn't even have a noise gate or anything. I would just do the stops and roll off the volume. And I had a guitar that was, we called it Frankenstein. It was a Mockingbird body, like a BC Rich Mockingbird body, and in the beginning a Jackson neck, which warped, and then I swapped out for an ESP neck. And it was this mutt, and it had a Floyd and two EMG pickups in it, 81 in the bridge, and that was what I used for all of my like really early shows with Psychosis. Unfortunately, I have neither of those pieces of gear anymore. The Marshall I sold when I upgraded to Mesa Boogie Mark III. And the guitar I sold to one of my guitar students, who I've been talking to and trying to actually get the guitar back. He still has it. So those were the like really early pieces of gear that I used. I wish I still had both. I do still have the guitar behind me over here. That was another one that I used in the early days, the Jackson King B. So yeah, that's it. I wish I still had some of that old stuff. I gotta get another JCM 800, but I'm kind of a Mesa guy now, so I have a Mark IV, and I love Mesa stuff. So let's see, Geronimo Santa Cruz from Salt Lake City, Utah. Who reached out to you to join Exodus, and how was your reaction? And then a second question is, what is the craziest story that happened to you on tour? Let's see. It would have had to have been Lee that asked me to come and fill in for Gary on tour. We were already playing together in Heathen at that point, and the guys needed help. And so they asked me to do a tour on the Exhibit B run in Europe in 2013. And I did that, and and basically we're filling in for several years from that point forward. So I think it's really cool that the guys asked me to do it. I mean, Exodus is one of my favorite bands of all time, so it was an honor and a privilege to be able to fill in for Gary and do all the touring that I did with the band. It's a proud moment for me, for sure. So, craziest story that happened to me on tour. Well, there's some I can't tell you. Those are secret. I'll give you the craziest story for me about to start a tour. I got a phone call one morning really early from Lee, and he left me a message. I wasn't even up yet, and I called him back, and his question to me was, "Hey, can you go to Australia with us?" And I think this is January of 2014, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 15. I don't know. But he called and asked me that question, and I said, "Sure. When is the tour?" And he said, "Tonight." So I had to basically drop everything I was doing. I was doing some freelance work, editing voiceovers for a video game, and I had to call the guy I was working for and tell him that I couldn't work for the next couple weeks, and he was not happy. And basically, I spent the entire day relearning the Exodus set, and then learning 2 new songs that were on Blood In, Blood Out that I had never played. Basically, I had to go to the airport that night and get on the plane, and then we got to the hotel, and Lee and I spent time working on getting the Kemper sound right and everything in the hotel room, and then the next day we played in front of Judas Priest. So it was crazy, it was stressful, but I'm really glad I did it. It was an awesome experience going down to Australia and playing the festivals and the club shows that we did with Fear Factory and stuff. And, for those guys to have, I don't know, to think that I can do it on such short notice was pretty cool too. So, as stressful as it was. So yeah, that was probably one of the craziest getting ready to go on tour kind of experiences that I've ever had. So let's see, MJ Thibodeau in Denver, Colorado. When you're translating music for the Exodus songs for the guitar books, are there any considerations such as the type of pedals or playing style, like tremolo, vibrato technique, to achieve what Gary and Rick did? Well, when I'm doing the transcriptions and sort of notating, putting it on paper what the guys played, it can be difficult. I mean, there are some feel things that you can't notate. Like if somebody does, if Gary does like a crazy whammy bar flutter, for example, where you hit the bar and it like kind of goes like that, like there isn't really a way to notate that. So essentially, if anything like that's strange or out or not or can't be notated, I guess I just write a note in the book, and I do that I try to do that wherever there's like a pickup switch, like if Gary switches to the neck pickup, or like there's a solo, I forgot which song on Bonded, but where Rick is using an octave effect, I'll notate it. Wherever I can, I try to add notes, outside of the traditional notation to try and help you capture the feel. It can be hard to translate like from a book to actually playing and having it sound the same, but I do my best to try and give as much help with that as possible in the notation. The guitar books, I take it to a different level than the old school guitar books did, where they wouldn't even write out the riff and they would just like write chord names and stuff. I notate like each staff is for the other guitar player, so Gary's got a staff and Rick's got a staff, even if they're playing the same thing. And then you can see you know, when they get to the leads, for example, you can see the lead and the rhythm like stacked on top of each other. So you can see what one guy's playing while the other guy's playing a solo or whatever, or if the guys are doing different parts. So, you know, I do whatever I can to really help with that. If it, you know, whatever I can to make it easier for you to get the information from the page to your hands and play. So I hope that helps. Let's see, Maria Villanueva from, I think it's Santander, Colombia. Which artists made you like metal? Part 2 is which ones made you like thrash metal? And what are your favorite songs to play on stage? Let's see, artists that made me like metal. I'd have to go back to when I was a kid, and I don't know, they're not really metal, but it was my journey into metal. It would be AC/DC. I heard Back in Black when I was like 8 years old, and I loved it. And that was sort of like the first step into that, like, I don't know, you call it hard rock or whatever you want to call it. And then from there, you know, I mean, I heard like the early Ozzy stuff and Iron Maiden. All of those kind of bands made me really love metal. And then as it progressed, I mean, I kind of got more and more into the heavier stuff. As far as what got me into thrash metal, it would have to be Metallica and Exodus. The first time I heard either one of those bands blew my mind and made me want to play thrash metal. And I basically just bought everything I could that was thrash metal after that. I mean, huge fan of especially the Bay Area stuff. So, and then the third question, what are my favorite songs to play on stage? Exodus songs, the Ballad of Leonard and Charles, the Toxic Waltz, any of the Bonded songs. You know, God, there's so many. I loved playing them all. I loved playing Opiate of the Masses by Heathen. I loved playing, you know, there's so many. I love playing all that stuff because I grew up listening to it and, as a fan before I played with the band. So those are so, I think those are sort of the ones I would go with. Let's see, Anthony M. from New York. If you have any future plans for Psychosis, and if so, will Bruce Hall be involved? I'm guessing that this is Anthony Muscat. What's up, Anthony? We do have future plans for Psychosis. At this point, the project we're working on is a reissue of our 1992 release Life Force. During that time, we actually had an entire album written, but we only recorded 6 of the songs. And so we got the original lineup from that release together and are working on 6 more songs from that same era. And we're going to put it together as part of the, like, I don't know, at this point, 30th anniversary edition of the Life Force album. We did write a whole record, a whole album's worth of music for the lineup with Bruce singing, and I don't know what we're gonna do with that yet. We haven't gotten that far. I moved to Arkansas, so I'm not local, and we don't get together and like jam. But we did record, like, you know, really rough demos of everything, so we have everything. You know, you don't have to try and remember it. So anyway, that's the current plan. We're going to focus on this Life Force era, you know, reissue, and that one's with Vince singing on that EP. So it's going to be really cool. We'll have 6 new songs that, well, they're not new. They're from 1993 or 2 or whatever, but they'll be new for most people that hear them, and it's going to be really cool. I can't wait to do it. New artwork and everything. So thank you, Anthony. Let's see. Yonatan Alani from Israel. Sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. What tips can you give to a starting band? It's really different from how it used to be. We used to get together and and jam and practice. I mean, God, like when I was starting with Psychosis, we practiced 5 days a week, and we were tight. But it's hard to do that these days, especially when a lot of the musicians are not like local to you. That's one of the biggest difficulties with starting a band, is finding guys that you like to play with, that are on the same level playing as you, and just all of that stuff. So I would say the most important thing with starting a band is to find people that you enjoy spending time with. Just because somebody's a great musician, you got to really enjoy spending time with them. If you end up doing a lot of touring or anything else, you're going to be out with these people, and you want to be with people that you like. The guys in Exodus are all like brothers. It's awesome. They really love each other, and it's a great experience. And so that's something that I learned from spending time with those guys, especially, and from being in bands in the past and currently other bands. So I would just say that I would say find guys that you enjoy spending time with. It's better to play with somebody that's maybe not the greatest musician but you enjoy hanging out with them, than it is to play in a band with somebody that you don't like or whatever. That, and then the second part I would say is focus on writing good music. Not just riffs, but songs. You gotta get people to like what you're doing, even if it's like avant-garde or out there stuff. Like focus on songs. Make them something that you personally want to listen to over and over again. So I hope that helps. Let's see, Ruben Rojas from Long Beach, California. Would you consider releasing tabs for Overdose from Fabulous Disaster? Just curious, since it wasn't in the official tab book. It's an amazing cover. It is an amazing cover. Doing these tab books is complicated from like trying to get the rights for everything. That one's AC/DC, so they're big time, and honestly, the way that I approached that Fabulous Disaster guitar book is when I got the original cassette, it was only 9 songs. Overdose was not on there. I think they put it on the CD when the CDs came out. I don't even remember if it was on the original vinyl or not, but I went with the original 9 songs that I remember. And if my memory is wrong on that, then somebody can put that in the comments. I could totally be wrong. Let's see. I don't know if it's Tegal or Tegal, Bluebeard 70K from Montreal. After seeing Gary play double bills with Exodus and Slayer, would you like to have a triple bill featuring Prototype, Heathen, and Exodus, so that Lee and yourself also experience a double bill? Well, Lee has already experienced a double bill, as Exodus and Heathen have toured together several times. So Lee has been called the Iron Man by the Sepultura guys because he did I think it was like a 6-week or 7-week tour where he did double duty every night. I have not experienced that. The most I have experienced is playing a set and then playing a song playing a set with Heathen and then playing a song with Exodus. Would I like to have a triple bill with Prototype, Heathen, and Exodus? Yes. I'll do my best to work on it. Hope that helps. Rob Webb. Let's see, Rob Webb, the video master. What was it like working with the heavy-hitting metal band Workers and working on a song with them. And will I be doing more collaborations with them on the next Workers album and possibly performing the songs with them? That was a cool project. I think it was Jason Vibrooks that hooked that up when he was playing with Workers. They just asked me to do a guest solo on the song Serpent from their Eradication album, and it was killer. The album's really good, and I had fun doing it. I like doing guest spots whenever I can. Let's see, how will I be doing more collaborations on the next album? I don't know, maybe. I do manage Workers, so anything is possible. They just signed to Metal Blade not that long ago and are writing for the new record, so we'll see what happens. Anything is possible. That's it. Thanks, Rob. And we're back. Let's see. Kevin Brown from Stephens City, Virginia, or Stephens City. If the members of Exodus were each required to play someone else's instrument in the band for just one new song, who would play what instrument and how would the song be approached? That is a tricky question. I can tell you that Tom would sing. I have no idea who would play drums though. That is an absolute mystery. I don't know anybody in the band that plays drums. I could be wrong. Nobody can play like Tom, that's for sure. I can't play drums. I could sing, maybe. I don't know. We might have a whole bunch of singers and guitar players. Maybe it would just be maybe it would be an acoustic night. Let's go with that. That sounds like totally not Exodus at all. But we maybe try it. Heavy up the songs on the acoustic. Have, a couple singers. I don't know. That sounds like a crazy idea, and maybe it's not a good one. But that would be what I would try. Something totally off the wall. Let's see. Simon Everts from I'm not sure where. Which Bay Area thrash metal band do you have the closest connection and friendship with, and since when? Well, obviously, for me personally, it's Heathen. I've been in the band since 2007. I've known Dave since 2001, I think. He actually came down and auditioned for Prototype at one point to be a singer for Prototype. So I've known him for the longest. If you're talking about bands outside of Exodus and Heathen, I guess it would probably have to be Death Angel. We've toured with them quite a bit with both bands. So those guys are awesome live band, and they make it difficult to play after. I'll tell you that, or before, or if you have to play before them. So I think that'd probably be it. I'm not an original Bay Area guy, so I didn't. Unfortunately, did not grow up in the scene. I grew up in the LA scene with Dark Angel and Slayer and the bands that came out of there. So I don't have quite the relationship, like the long-term relationship with the guys that everybody else does. But I think those are the Heathen and Exodus guys obviously are the closest. And I guess we'd say Death Angel would be the other band outside of that. Okay, and the last question is from John Westian from San Francisco. Besides metal, what other types of music do you play? What equipment do you use when practicing at home? Is it loud, and do your neighbors ever complain? Besides metal, what other types of music do I play? Very little. I listen to a lot of stuff outside of metal. I like classical, I like some jazz. I'll listen to some old school Johnny Cash. I like rock and hard rock stuff. I love metal. I listen to a little bit of everything. As far as playing it, I really don't play much of that stuff. I did take classical guitar lessons at one point. I did go to a jazz music school at one point. So I mean, I have played other stuff, but I spend so much time working on music for, you know, Heathen or the other bands that I have, or preparing to play something or doing guest spots. I don't really ever get to sort of sit down and, you know, like play jazz or classical or anything. I try to, if anything, I try to integrate those styles into what I'm doing, or take techniques from them and put them into stuff that I'm doing. What equipment do I use when I'm practicing at home? I use a little Mesa Boogie combo amp. I'm just looking down at it. It's called the Subway Rocket. It's just a little combo with I think it has like a 10-inch speaker in it. It's pretty cool though. It sounds really good. It's a little on the noisy side, but I just use that. I have a tube screamer in front of it. I have a noise gate and a tuner, and that's it. And I just use that normally when I'm practicing at home and teaching lessons. It's right here. I have it like built into my studio desk, and you know, it's a good practice amp. I don't want to, you know, when I'm practicing, I don't need a you know, 4x12 cabinet or whatever. I mean, maybe I could. It's not. I don't typically do it that loud. My neighbors have never complained. I'm sure they can hear it, but they've never complained. Even when I'm recording in here, and I did have it loud with the 4x12 cabinet mic'd up, I have even asked them, and they said that they can't hear me. So I don't know. Maybe the house is just built well, or we're far enough apart. Thankfully, our house is not like stacked right next to the neighbor's house, so there's a little bit of space, and I'm sure that helps. But yeah, I mean, it's a great practice setup. I use it all the time. So anyway, that was it. Thank you guys for all the killer questions. I appreciate doing this. It's been fun. If you have anything cool that you want to ask in the comments, I will try to answer you. I do moderate the Exodus YouTube channel, so I'll try to answer the questions as much as I can. You know, if you have questions for other guys in the future, please send them in. We're going to try and keep doing these with other guys from Exodus, past and present. And yeah, that's about it. If you're on YouTube and you're a guitar player and you're one of the guys asking me about gear or technique or playing or anything like that, please check out my YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it at the bottom here. And yeah, that's it. We'll look forward to a new Exodus album this year. It's killer. I've heard it. You're gonna love it. Cheers. See you guys later.